working atop a makeshift scaffold in the entryway. In those days, my father, Dick Lind, was just hitting his stride as a home builder. This meant building a home, moving his young family in before it was finished, selling it quickly, then moving them into another before Mom had time to file divorce papers. She was raising her babies, surrounded by dust, strange men splattered in paint, the shrilling sound of table saws, and wall-quivering thumps during nap time. For a young mother of two trying to build a nest, it was a stone-cold nightmare. Not that she wanted an actual divorce per se, she loved my dad, but she did fantasize about it every now and then while stain-treating the bright yellow baby poop on her new white capris. This home was her biggest, grandest abode yet, with a cute little turret on the north side and a tall, bright entryway where the new architectural designer was working through a color swatch. The house reeked of sharp, sickly sweet lacquer, and my mom, crunchy far before her time, suspected the fumes were cancerous or poisonous. Best case, everyone was getting fatty tumors. Regardless, she wasn't taking any chances. She opened the windows, but the day was warm. Her furniture, the same furniture she had dusted a few hours before, was covered in yet another thin layer of dust. My brother sped up into the crease of her neck, and it dribbled slowly into her cleavage. Sweat speckled her upper lip. The house typically bubbled with activity, but not on that particular afternoon. It was eerily quiet as she eyed the wallpaper man. From her vantage point, she could only see parts of the scaffolding and his big white Reebok scuttling about freely like he wasn't high in the air on a wobbly piece of plywood. She laid my brother in his bassinet and was wiping her neck with a blanket when she saw the man's foot slip and the scaffold begin to collapse underneath him. She started toward him just as he grabbed the chandelier, his Reeboks swinging wildly. The designer was beneath them, clutching her swatches as the chandelier gave way. He dropped like an anvil right on top of the designer. The wallpaper man grunted. The designer's back snapped. Mom screamed. And right then she made a decision. Christine Lind was done having children. Over tuna casserole one night, Mom announced she was getting her tubes tied. It went over like a lead balloon. Dad sat across from her at the table, chewing slowly before saying gently, "Please don't. It's too rash." My dad would have 30 kids if he could have gotten away with it, and I have to admit he's a pretty great father. He's a doter, loving, attentive, and fun, and he can't for the life of him say no. Of course, this was back in the day of traditional gender roles, when dads weren't expected to participate in the day-to-day grind of parenting. Fatherhood's pretty easy if you've never dragged your limp, lifeless body out of bed to feed a screaming baby at 3 o'clock in the morning, or suffered the indignities of a short-order cook while tiny idiots complain their grilled cheese is too brown. The man didn't even discipline much. He just gave us whatever we wanted. The poor woman had enough on her plate. She was busy making tuna casseroles for tiny people who snubbed tuna casseroles. Still, she respected his wishes and decided to take a pause on invasive surgeries. Getting her tubes tied was permanent and, frankly, sounded a smidge barbaric, like a doctor casually suggesting he make a square knot out of your intestines. Perhaps there was an alternative that sounded less terrifying. She decided on spermicide, an over-the-counter product guaranteed to go on a murderous sperm rampage on the user's behalf. Mom may have known she was done having children the day the wallpaper man broke the designer's back, but she didn't know that in less than 2 years, she'd endure long hospital stays and endless nights rocking my sweet-natured, curly-haired brother as she sat on top of the toilet. Christian had contracted whooping cough. The shower would run hot, Mom's hair frizzing up from the sweltering steam. She would hum gently, her body no longer her own, giving his comfort to a wheezing little boy. The agonizing wait to hear him take a breath after every cough dampened the joy of motherhood. The uncertainty of it all left little room for much else. Eventually, though, he got better, and the day she knew he'd be fine, her first thought wasn't, "Let's have another baby!" It was, "I think I'll start a book club." As her 20s came to a close and her 2 children grew older, Mom leaned in hard to her growing independence. She was feeling quite pleased with herself. She was fit, her skin was taut, her hair full, and her possibilities endless. My dad's home-building business was growing, and while they still moved a lot, it became easier with older children. She took pride in homemaking, enjoyed volunteering, and started to quilt with a bunch of old ladies because the world was her oyster. She worked diligently to prevent me, obviously, because her social life was in full bloom. Who wants to start over from scratch when you've just started sleeping through the night and your stitch work is finally on point? Then sometime after Christmas...